welcome to, I think, part 6 of this Photoshop tutorial series. I think today I'm going to talk about text and using text boxes. I realize that Photoshop is an image manipulation program. It's not meant for a page layout at all. Usually what you do is you do like the photo manipulation in Photoshop, then you bring it into another program like InDesign. But it is a project in my classes, my grade 10 classes, in order to do a news article where I'm just teaching them about Photoshop. So they have to make a news article that is completely fictitious. Totally impossible, but you have to make it true using Photoshop. So with that said, we're going to do a text box here, and we're going to try and make it stand out. So I'm going to put the horse over here. I got all those layers selected here. I'm just going to put the horse here. And if I click on the type tool, and typically if you start typing on something and you just start typing, right? Okay. And you just click, and what's happening is that I'm typing off the page, and this is no good. If I wanted to have a paragraph, I would have to keep on hitting return. And I'm lazy. I don't like to do any more work than possible. So I want to do a text box instead. How do I do that? Well, it's very easy. Instead of just clicking, I'm just going, when I have my type tool selected, I just click and drag to make a text box. So easy. Rules of text boxes, let's not have center. That's hard to read, so let's make it left justified. Impact is a way too bold. Well, that's a headline font. Let's pick a font that is easier to read. And I'm going to go with just like a regular standard one that I know is going to be on PCs and Macs. So let's go to like something like, let's just do Bookman. It's not my favorite, but it'll do the job. As well, when I'm typing or when I'm reading a paragraph, it's a personal preference. I like to go with serif fonts, the ones with like the little tails on them, rather than a sans serif, because I find the serifs guide the eye a little bit more, and they're just easier, faster to read for people. So let's just start typing something. Let's see. Onlookers were amazed to look up in the sky to see a horse that was flying. And then my paragraph is going to get a little off track. Don't forget to buy Mr. Thornburrow a coffee if you are late for class. Just saying. He takes 2 milks. Okay. So obviously my paragraph is going to be, that's way too big for this font. If you look at a typical page, is going to be like a magazine is going to have like a 10-point font. Like a default for when you're writing essays in Microsoft Word, that's 12-point. Let's go down to, I'm going to highlight my text, and we're at 24. I'm just going to put it down to 12, okay? And then now that's not much of a paragraph. Just for the sake of having more text, I'm going to copy that and then paste, because my students are going to have about that much text in their article, okay? Now, this isn't very easy to read. We want it to be legible. So maybe in this case, like a darker font would be a little bit more appropriate. I don't usually like to go with regular colors. This stands out a little bit better, but you know, there are some problem areas, and especially if your background is going to be busy. And I'm going to really be a little extreme by dragging it over here. And because maybe if your background is like, say, a cityscape, and like there's lots of lights and darks in it, so this would be a really problematic thing in order if your background had lots of lights and darks. So maybe an idea is that we would just put like a box underneath it in order to make it stand out a little bit better. How you would do that, rather than, and I know I showed you in previous tutorials to actually do a selection and then go edit and fill this, and that works fine. However, there are easier ways of doing that, and that is with this shape tool here, or in this case, the rectangle tool. If you click and hold down, you got a bunch of different options here. I can do a rectangle, that's a rounded edged rectangle, ellipse or circle tool, polygonal line, or custom shape. So like custom shape's kind of cool because you can pick different shapes. If you need to do like an arrow of some sort, it's green because that's what my foreground color is right now. If you had a, or like if you had like, if you wanted to have a like, hey, the horse is talking, you could have the horse talking like so. But in this case right here, we're just going to go with the old rectangle. In this case, I'm going to have my type white again, and I'm just going to pick up some color, maybe from this blue sky here. So if I hold that, let's go with this blue sky right here, maybe some of this color. And I'm going to draw my rectangle, and don't worry about making a new layer, because when I draw a rectangle, it makes a new layer on its own. And then let's put that layer underneath this text. And then we can make this text white there, and then now if you want, we can also add the blending modes that I showed you before. You could do like multiply or like or overlay. Oh, that's not very legible, is it? So let's just go with normal. But actually, maybe we just don't want to have it at 100%. We can back it off to there. Now, I realize that this does look kind of gross, like over top of the horse. So I'm going to click both those things. And just for now, maybe I'll just have it like, say, like this. And actually, maybe what I can do is I'm going to switch this back to black. So let's just go back to here, go back to here. Now, I don't have that type selected. Is it going to do it for me? Yeah, it did. Good. And then now I can go back and I can change that to maybe like a lighter color now. And maybe I can pick up some of that peach color there. And then maybe that's something that's a little bit more desirable to look at. Okay. There you go. That's using the shape tool and the text paragraph tool. So if you get anything from this tutorial, it's those two things. Good luck.